welcome back to my channel. As I'm sitting here waiting for my breakfast to come to me, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about consumer math and financial literacy and how you can incorporate those different things within your homeschool. Although I am very big on math and science, as you can probably already tell based on my previous videos, I also think that consumer math and personal finance is also just as important, financial literacy. So here are some tips and ways that you can include consumer math and financial literacy into your homeschool. You don't need a program, you don't need a curriculum to do this. You just can use some of your life skills as teaching lessons, okay? Or you can use life skills as a method to kind of help your children better understand financial literacy. So what is financial literacy? What is personal finance? What is consumer math? Well, consumer math is math that's more geared towards the upper levels. I would say maybe your 7th, 8th grade and up. And it focuses on things such as buying a home. It focuses on things such as buying a house, maybe buying insurance and things of that nature. It also focuses on concepts like investing, compound interest, how to choose a retirement plan, how to choose a home, going through the home buying process to include credit, how your credit is impacted, how is your credit reported, how is your credit utilized in order to determine whether or not you are a viable candidate for receiving a particular interest rate. And it goes through interest rates and things of that nature. So it's basically the everyday math that an adult or a young adult may use throughout their life when you're exchanging money, or if you are going into some type of investment or making a major purchase or so. So consumer math includes many of those topics. Consumer math also includes personal finance and financial literacy, but we use those terminologies in a different way. When we think of personal finance and financial literacy, we think of things such as maybe a household budget, how to determine a need versus a want, how to save, why do we save, how do we maybe determine the best approach for using the money that we get, how do we earn money, what are the different ways in which you can earn an income, how should we think about money, right? It may even include a little bit of economics, supply and demand and things of that nature. You may also talk about simple interest and percentages. And if something is 50% off, what does that mean? If something is normally, $25 and there is a sale for 15% off, how do we calculate that? Personal finance also dives a bit into how you should maybe think about finance and investing in things of that nature. How do we buy clothing? How do we look for deals? How do we know we're getting the best deal for a particular product? When I go to a grocery store and I see one price for milk, and I go to a different grocery store and I see a different price for milk, how do I know if I'm getting the best price if that item is on sale? How do I calculate that? So personal finance and financial literacy dives a little bit into those topics. And you can teach your kids those types of concepts from any age, from 3 years old all the way up. We as adults sometimes are still learning about those personal finance and consumer math concepts as we go through life and we make bad decisions. We figure out that, oh my gosh, that interest rate sucks. I will never get a item for that high of an interest rate. I could have done this in terms of my credit in order to make me a more viable person to get a better interest rate, or I'm not going to lease a car and this is why, or I'm not going to buy whole life insurance, I'm going to buy term life insurance and this is why, or I should have invested in this type of IRA versus this type of IRA and this is why. We go through those transitions and thought processes as adults, and many of us learn those concepts through trial and error and making bad decisions, or just being lucky if we made a good decision, right? But wouldn't it be of benefit and of great value if we instill those concepts and values within our children at a younger age, so that when they leave your house and they head off to college, or they decide to do something else with their life, that they have those skills in their back pocket, they have those tools available for them, so they can utilize them and make good financial decisions. That's our goal, right? So how can we incorporate this within our homeschool? Well, guys, what I do personally, I'm only going to talk to you from my experience, okay? So what I am doing is I brought in Dave Ramsey. So I purchased the Dave Ramsey Middle School program. It's a DVD or a video. Yeah, DVD. It's a DVD program that comes with a workbook, and it's for all the middle school age groups. So I'm starting it in the 5th grade, where we are looking at the video for a particular topic, doing the assignment or project within the workbook, and then I'm going to expand on that project, and I'm going to discuss other topics that are related to it, and we're going to talk about what that means in terms of real life with my son based on his age. A lot of the concepts that are within the financial literacy for the upper levels, your children may not interact with those on a daily basis. They may not have the experience to understand how that would be applicable to them. So when teaching them these concepts, it's really important to help them understand how it's applicable to them and how they see it in everyday life. May it be through you being the example and them being there watching you go through different things, or maybe something they can experience themselves if you give allowance, or if they earn money, or if they have some type of income, and things of that nature. So I did bring in that, and I'll put the link, either I'll put in a picture of this program, or I'll put a link in the description box below. Something else that I do is our read alouds. So our read alouds, or independent reading, I make sure that it's inclusive of financial literacy type books. And I've been doing that, I would say, since the 3rd grade. I will link below a recent video that I did that talks about what our independent reading looks like this year, the books that my son is required to read independently. And a lot of those books are inclusive of financial literacy topics. So he'll read it on his own, and for those specific books, I will then, ask him to create a pamphlet for someone who wants to understand a particular topic, or we will do copy work from that book based on a particular concept that they're teaching, because I want him to memorize that information. Or I will give him a mini project that may take an hour to complete, or I may do a worksheet or a puzzle, or we'll play a game or something related to important concepts from that book that he's reading. So that's another great way of doing it. Something else you can do for the younger ages is you can teach your kids, 3, 4, 5 years old, the meaning of work, and you can teach them what it means to save. You can teach them what a need and what a want is. You can get them a play cash register, where you're also teaching them the values of the coins. The penny means 1 cent, a nickel is 5 cents, and so forth, and a dollar bill is $1. And you're kind of talking them through that process. They're giving you money, they're making fake purchases. So if they have a doll, you can put 5 cents on the doll, put the picture of the coin on the item, and throughout the home you can do that for various things. And then they will have to go and shop those items, put it in their bag, bring it to you, and then you can go to the little fake toy cash register and you can ask them to give you the money for those items. You're teaching math, you're teaching coin recognition, and you're teaching the value of money all at the same time. You can also, for the lower grades, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, you can also maybe give them an allowance where they do certain chores, they get a quarter or $1 or something like that. And then you'll put the dollar bills, don't crumple it up, but you'll put the dollar bills within a big clear container. And as the container gets filled up with dollar bills, it looks like it's exploding from the container. That gets them excited about seeing all the money that they are saving, right? And you talk about the purpose of saving. What do you want to purchase? Who do you want to buy something for? If you buy something for yourself, that's great, but sometimes you want to think about buying something for someone else. It's mommy's birthday coming up, or it's brother's or sister's or daddy's birthday, or grandpa's birthday coming up. Let's go buy something for them. You take them to the dollar store and you allow them to use the money that they saved. Or if they want a particular thing as they get older, you take them to the store and you allow them to utilize the money that they have. And of course, if the item is a little bit more, based on taxes, or you were off by $1, of course, help them. But you can do little things like that. You can also teach them what work ethic is through various life skills. Teach them, and you have to first determine, what am I going to pay you for, what I'm not going to pay you for. Because I'm also a firm believer that you shouldn't be paying your kids to do traditionally and normal things that you expect them to do, such as making their bed, taking care of themselves, not taking care of themselves. Can't do that as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old. But I mean, like, brushing their teeth, getting their book bag ready, getting their clothes laid out, or whatever their normal process is, maybe putting clothes in the hamper. You don't want to pay them for everything they do, because that's not teaching good work ethic. Okay, if you do that, they're going to start thinking everything I do, there's a value to it, and you need to pay me for basic things. But I'm talking about maybe things that are outside what you may consider to be normal chores, like maybe taking out the trash, or helping you take out the trash, or helping you clean out your car, or maybe actually putting the clothing, removing the clothing from the hamper, putting it in the washer, and then putting it, you of course going to help them with that, and then taking it out of the hamper and putting it into the dryer, maybe putting up the clothing or helping you fold the clothes, and things of that nature. Things that are not done every day, things that you're not trying to build a pattern or good habits for, things that you're not trying to build a routine for, things that are outside of that. Maybe consider giving them $1 or a quarter for certain things and tracking that in a visual way. Maybe put like a sticker chart or something on the board where they get to put the sticker whenever they do something. And if they reach 10 stickers, that means they get $1, and they get that $1 and they put it in that clear container, and they're just watching it grow and grow and grow. Those are little things that you can do with your children, who are maybe 6 and younger. So when you get to maybe like ages 7 and up, 7 to 10, maybe you can start increasing the amount of money that you give per chore. You can make the chores a little bit harder. And you can also include maybe playing games. There is some type of Monopoly board game as it relates to money. I think it's made from Dave Ramsey, I'm not sure. But you can also start incorporating projects and things of that nature. So something that I'm doing now for my son in the 5th grade, as we're learning about various financial literacy concepts and topics, as we're going through those topics, and we're doing little mini books about each of the important topics that I consider to be important. And as we go through that video curriculum, and as we read books on the topic, and as we have discussion, and as we give him allowance, and we talk about work ethic, and we talk about savings and wanting, understanding what a need and a want is, allowing him to go to the store, make the purchase, calculate the interest rate for taxes, based, or not interest rate, but to calculate the tax for his purchase, having him understand how to calculate that, have that money prepared. He also has a bank account where he puts the money he's saving into that bank account. The For long-term savings, we explain what long-term savings looks like for his age group. You know, your cell phone cracks, your battery breaks on your game, or, you know, something that you may need to do in the future, something that's relevant to his age group. You know, we have a bank account for that, and he gets his statements. And when we do our budget, we sit down, we do our budget, we talk about it, we reconcile it against the bank statement. We have a budget meeting. We go through what your plans are for the month, what your income looks like, what your expenses are, and so forth. And in terms of expenses, at his age group, his expenses are like $1 for these shakes he always wants me to get. The shakes are like $10 every week, so he has to give me $1 for it. He has a cell phone, and his cell phone bills a certain amount, so he has to give me $1 for using that cell phone. You know, those are the expenses that he has. You know, he has certain soaps and lotions that he likes to use for whatever reason, so he has to give me $0.25 for those items. So we include that in his budget under the expenses. I'll also link a video below on how I teach him personal finance in terms of the budget, his budget process. I'll link that video in the description box up below, so you can also see how we have our budget meetings and what it looks like and what we go through and things of that nature. So back to what we are doing now in the 5th grade in terms of a project. So as he is learning the various financial literacy concepts that I want him to learn, right? In the middle of the year, he's going to have a big project that basically consolidates all the information that he's learned about and puts it all together. So that project is 3 or 4-fold. There's so many different moving parts to it, and it's going to take him from the middle of the school year to the end of the school year, about 3 months, to complete that process. And I'm going to be there to support him and to help him and to put things together for him, for he's not going to be independent on this type of project. The independence for major projects are going to come later on in the years, but of course I'm going to offer him assistance, and so should you with your children, especially if it's certain concepts you really want them to hone in on and understand. You may want to go ahead and offer that support for them. So first we're going to research a book bag. We're going to go online and we're going to look for a book bag of his choosing from various sources. And then we're going to go to like a Walmart or a Target, and we're going to also look for a similar book bag. We're going to talk about, what do you need from a book bag? I know you want these things for your book bag, so what are your wants? What are you really looking for? What do you really need your book bag to provide for you? And then we're going to talk about, based on those two things, what are we going to come up with? Once we come up with the characteristics or the things we want our book bag to include or look like or have, then we're going to go online and we're going to start talking about the different prices. Let's go find different prices for different book bags that meet the criteria that you just laid out. So once we look at prices, then you're going to start thinking about, why would I pay more for this, or why would I pay less for this, in order to make an informed decision as to the best choice based on various characteristics or various areas that we decided to look at. You know, the physical feature, durability as an example, the cost as an example, and things of that nature. So once we have that, he'll go ahead and he'll make a final decision. I want to get my book bag from here. Now we're going to talk about calculating the taxes for that book bag. We talked about percentages and decimals and fractions and things of that nature throughout the year, so he would have that down by this time. So then we're going to calculate the tax. So once we calculate the tax, then we'll say, okay, boom, this is what I'm going to get. This is the process I went through. I'm going to go to my bank. I'm going to write on that withdrawal slip. I'm going to sign that slip. Of course, I have to sign it for him. And then he's going to remove that money from his bank, write it down, or maintain his receipt so he can reconcile his files later, go make the purchase, Make sure he gives the right amount of money, and if he gets change, make sure his change is appropriate, or whatever it is. If we're physically purchasing it somewhere, if we're not physically purchasing it somewhere, then we're purchasing it online, then what he'll do is, if he has the money on hand, then I'm going to make him go to the bank with me and deposit the money, go make the purchase, reconcile the records. Once the item comes in the mail with the receipt, look at the receipt, make sure it matches what you thought you purchased. Make sure they charged you that amount on your in your bank account, and make sure that amount is on your statement once you get it the following month. So we'll go through the process, and in that process, if you'll notice, oops, sorry, I thought a car was gonna hit me, and I'm parked, but I don't know what that was. Sorry. But then we'll go through the process of all those financial literacy concepts that you just or all those financial literacy concepts that are a part of that one project. And then we're going to do another project that basically says we're going to go grocery shopping now. So same concept, but now we're going to go grocery shopping. And for the shakes that he likes, and for the lotion or the different items that he likes for me to purchase for him, we're going to find out which place offers the best price. Does Amazon offer the best price? Does Target? Or does Walmart offer the best price? And in that, we're also going to talk about, let's go to a bulk store such as Costco. Does it make sense to purchase these items in bulk? And let's look at the price differences, and let's do the calculations and figure it out. And we'll go through the same process. We'll make a decision on which one we're going to get. Do you have to buy on brand or off brand? We might do a little test and buy off-brand versus and on-brand for one particular item, and then he'll use it, and then he'll track, right? He will gather the information, which is buying the item, using the item, writing down and tracking. Does that item make his skin feel smoother? Is it easier to rinse off? Does it cause any reactions to your skin? He's going to gather the data. He's going to analyze the information, track it, analyze the information, and he's going to report that back to me. That's a science thing, right? That's like using the scientific method, right? So we're also bringing in science into financial literacy, and that's just teaching him how to make good decisions in different ways that you can make a decision, right? We just don't go buy things sometimes. Sometimes to find out what works best for you, you may have to make one or two purchases and compare those items. And sometimes you just can't compare those items by just reading what the label says or looking at the commercial. You have to really try it on. You have to maybe put it on for a few days and then track how it feels or what it looks like in order to determine if this is an item that you want to continue purchasing in the future. Okay, so as you can see, there are multiple things that we are learning through this one project. Okay, so back to the financial part of it, like I said, he'll go through the process of figuring out which one works best for him. He'll go ahead, make that decision, make the purchase, go to the bank. If it's not online, you withdraw the money, write on that withdrawal slip, go make the purchase, keep his receipt, reconcile the receipt to his bank statement once he gets the bank statement. Or he can go online. We can go online if he so chooses to look at the item. Then we'll talk about debits and credits. And when he looks at his bank statement or when he goes online, we'll talk about what the left side is, what the right side is, which are debits and credits, and explain to him why they're called debits and credits and why they're on each side and what does that mean in terms of increase or decrease and things of that nature. And we're just reinforcing the different concepts of, what a beginning balance is, what a ending balance is. And if they don't charge you the right amount for whatever reason, then we what are the steps that we need to go through in order to get that correct, or what happens if you made a purchase and it didn't work for you or you didn't like it? What is a return policy? Look on the back of the receipt. If it's not there, let's go online or call them and figure out what's the return policy. And if it doesn't work for you, let's go through the process of making the return. And once the return is made, going to your bank statement or going online and looking at what it looks like when you get a refund. from a merchant and things of that nature. So these are things that you can do with a 5th grader, 6th grader, all the way through any grade. And as they get older, you know, when a child is 14 years old, they're talking about, I want a car. That's wonderful, but help them understand what the car buying process is. Take them to the dealership at 14 and 15 years old. Look at the cars. Figure out what kind of car you're looking for. Go online, do the research, do the calculations, do the compound interest, and find out if you can afford that car or how much you can afford and things of that nature. These are projects that don't require curriculums, but these are projects that you can take in smaller chunks and bring into your homeschool and do one major project maybe in the middle of the year and take a month or 2 or 3 to complete that project using everyday life skills that the child is going to need, or maybe everyday life skills that you're going to need, and help allow them to work with you with your budget, right? Have them go online and make the payment and understand why we're making the payment online. It may be cheaper. We may be able to save, 0.1% as an example for making a payment online. And what does that really mean for the whole year? Or some bank accounts say, if you have a checking account, I'll give you X percentage points back at the end of the year. Or if you have a credit card and they say, hey, if you make X dollars, we're going to give you X percentage back. What does that mean? Is it worth it? How do you calculate it? You can do that as the child gets a little older and they understand interest and compound interest and those types of things. So I hope this video was a benefit. I hope you found a few things useful. I'll put the links of different things that I spoke about in the description box below. And what I'll also do is at the end of the video, stay tuned, I'll put pictures of some of the things that I'm talking about if I have them in the home, if I can find them online. But again, any questions, leave them in the box below. And as always, be blessed, guys, and make it a great, great day. Bye.